end is truly near, guys. I still haven't gone to sleep. I'm still awake at this point in time, right? People think I'm kidding when I say I'm on no sleep, because the charts are finally moving, right? Volatility is coming back into the market, guys, and this is quite exciting. Today is April 20th, so happy Easter. And on this fine day, well, it seems like they want to paint it red. Why? Because XRP is dumping, Bitcoin is dumping, right? And so I'll watch out for, again, like we stated before, guys, there's a bunch of liquidity everywhere, right? So there's going to be a lot of tricks being played. So let us prepare. Now, signal. XRP Bollinger Bands tightening is tightening on the 4-hour. Big move is imminent, guys. Right? So right now, a big move is happening right now, right? Or is on the horizon, just around the corner. Because we do see these lines squeezing, right? Either down or up. Right now, it's looking like it's breaking down, but they could easily move it back up, right? Remember, this move that's happening right now is happening on a Sunday, right? And on weekends, there's a lot of manipulation, so just watch out. Be very careful, guys. Now, in today's video, we're going to be talking about, we just talked about the short term, but I really want to talk about what's truly incoming, guys. What's the end goal here for XRP? Okay, and we got the scoop from the biggest insiders. They told us the game plan to a T. You rarely see a call like this from a Wall Street bank. Bank of America says short the S&P 500 as global investors shift to safety, right? So they're saying that, hey, be careful of the stock market right now, right? And this is a bank saying it. So are they trusted or not, right? Some will say yes, some will say no. But I would say right now, just be aware of up and down, right? Because there's a lot of manipulation happening. There's a lot of hidden hands that are in these markets when Trump got into office, okay? But that's not really the end goal here. Kind of is, to collapse it all, right? The true end goal is this right here from Gold Telegraph, which ties into XRP in just a second, guys, because don't fret, CBDCs are incoming in a couple of months' time. I've said it in my entire career. The world is dealing with a massive debt problem. Now, it's no longer theoretical. It is erupting right now. Global debt is over $315 trillion, okay? The financial system is weaponized, and long-standing trade relationships are fracturing in real time. This isn't just a crisis. It is the prelude to a reset. Oh, look at that. Right? We knew the game plan from the beginning of time, guys, and this is why they really want to collapse these assets. Right? I'm telling you, that's the true goal here. The debt is in the hundreds of trillions of dollars. How is that even possible? Right? History's resets have come through different external events, such as war, perhaps, currency collapse, and seismic shifts like Bretton Woods. Right? This is what happens in cycles. Gold is the center of it all. Okay, so remember the keyword cycles. Let's actually talk about it right now. Now, this chart right here is from Ray Dalio's Changing World Order, showing the historical cycle of the rise and fall of an empire. Right? What stage would you say we are in right now? So this is from Ray Dalio, guys, and it's basically about how they change orders from the old guard to the new, right? And these are all the stages right here. Now, it goes up and it comes back down, right? So prosperity and then destruction, as clearly shown in this chart, the big cycle behind empires rise and declines, right? So basically what happens is the order gets created, guys, then peace, prosperity, and productivity goes on an upward trajectory, okay? Then what happens after is financial bubble and big wealth cap. I'm guessing the poor and the rich. Then the decline begins. Financial bust and economic downturn. Printing money and credit happens. External events take place. Debt and political restructuring, and then the next order is set, right? So which number are we on, guys? Right? Wealth gaps, large debts, printing money. I'm guessing around this stage right here. Internal conflict, right? Printing money around there, guys. And next is loss of reserve currency, weak leadership, civil war, and revolution, right? So if you come back here, talk about the reserve currency. Well, what do we have it? Breaking news: United States bond giant PIMCO warns United States dollars reserve currency status is not guaranteed. The world is starting to become awake. France says the United States dollar would lose credibility if President Trump fired Fed Chair Jerome Powell. Right? So it seems like there could be a target on the dollar's back, guys. And that's funny because they have been subliminally hinting towards a crisis unfolding for the dollar, right? And I guess maybe perhaps someone has to get blamed, and I'm guessing maybe it's in plain sight. Trump can't fire Jerome Powell. His term ends May 2026. The only thing he can do is have Congress vote to abolishing the Federal Reserve before the midterm elections. A vote of this magnitude will only pass if there's a 1929 style depression caused by who? The only one that controls it all, right? He is a puppet, but he gets a call, and he basically is moving the strings around. Powell, right? Jerome Powell. So I guess the only way, so Trump wants interest rates to come down and all that stuff, but Jerome Powell is saying no, guys, right? And they want the markets to tank. They want the markets to go down, right? To have an excuse to finally bring inflation back down to their 2% target, but I think it's honestly going to go lower. And then the dominoes will start to fall, guys, where they're probably going to print so much money and it's going to get out of hand, right? And then things start to break later on, right? Because the system cannot handle it any longer. At some points, there's going to be a collapse, such as the 1929 style depression that happened once upon a time, 100 years ago, about, right? Again, that 100-year mark, right? Where the order changes from Ray Dalio. So, and then Trump probably fires him, right? Or his, I guess, his term just ends, right? Now, what's fascinating to me is his term ends May of 2026. That's odd, right? That was a target year, to be honest. I feel like the collapse will happen around that time, right? And then his term ends at that time too. So what are the chances of that, right? The statistical probability, guys. Really odd if you ask me, because look at this. Does anyone else find it highly interesting that the chair of the Federal Reserve is being interviewed by a Ripple advisory board member who is specifically there for RLUSD oversight? So this person right here, he's a former governor of the Reserve Bank of India. Okay, Ripple USD advisory board. Ripple's stablecoin initiative is guided by an advisory board of finance and blockchain experts. Each member brings decades of experience and a deep understanding of financial systems and emerging technologies. And guess what just happened? He is literally interviewing Jerome Powell here, right? So let's see what he says or asks him, guys. Right, so it seems like all these things are connected in some way, like we stated before, right? This is the transition from the old to the new. And look how they're all in talks, right? Ripple is literally in talks with the Fed. Just think about that. You won, literally.
Well, let me move to something which is more about technological change and new kinds of instruments, cryptocurrencies.
He brings forth the topic of cryptocurrencies when talking to the puppet that controls the system today. Fascinating. Will XRP be mentioned? Probably not. But again, feeding us the people, right, to pay attention. Why? Because right now, 99% of the world isn't paying attention to cryptocurrencies, right? So you should follow the money, and you will get rich. It's that easy.
How do you see the potential for more favorable regulations coming on them, and potential risks from that for the system?
So we went through a wave of failures and fraud and things like that were the headlines for a couple of years. And I think what you see now is, and during that period, by the way, we worked with Congress to try to get a legal framework for stable coins, which would have been a nice place to start. We were not successful. I think that the climate is changing, and you're moving into sort of more mainstreaming of that whole sector. So Congress is again looking at both the Senate and the House are looking at a legal framework for stable coins. Depending on what's in it, that's a good idea. We need that. There isn't one now.
And then he brings upon or mentions stablecoins, right? Specifically, which Ripple has their own stablecoin timed perfectly. It just came out recently as well, which is RLUSD. What is going on here? Again, the new order is submerging, right? Or emerging. Again, the new order is emerging.
Stablecoins are a digital product that could actually have fairly wide appeal and should contain consumer protections of the typical sorts and transparency, and that's what the Senate and the House are working on. So that's a positive thing. I also think some of the, we took a pretty conservative, and other bank regulators took an even more conservative perspective on the guidance and rules we imposed on banks. I think there'll be some loosening of that, and I think we'll try to do it in a way that preserves safety and soundness, but that permits and fosters appropriate innovation. But that does so in a way that, again, doesn't put consumers at risk in ways they don't understand or make banks less safe and sound.
So there we go, guys, right? So this is a insane a find right here, right? Insane find. It all ties in together, right? Yep, the USD in the hidden hand that controls the puppet. Interesting, right? Maybe the Fed here. XRP is offering a vehicle for exchange. Exactly, guys. Look at this fractured global payment system. Right, and the person who was interviewing the Fed name is mentioned here with the IMF, I believe. Right, the IMF right here, and then here as well, guys. Whether a globally coordinated systemic hegemonic currency could dampen the spillover shocks associated with the dominance of the United States dollar as a reserve currency. So I feel like this is all coordinated, right? 100% is. There's a reason why they really want to bring down cryptos as a whole, right? And then the transition will happen then on, guys. So the game plan is quite clear. Just be safe out there, guys, and take it day by day. Not financial advice, but happy Easter, right? Again, more videos coming up because I'm not sleeping. Hopefully not. But it was nice to face me, guys. See ya.